Howdy, friends. We are late
Hello.
yet early, all at the same time.
Seems
Wild
weird that way.
card.
Turn up on a Thursday, y'all. Instead of a Wednesday. Normally we're on a Wednesday, but today we are turning up on a Thursday.
We are.
So, where should we start with last week?
The only game I watched last week was LSU Missouri. And the first quarter of Arkansas Ole Miss, and then the last 5 minutes.
So, nothing important. No.
So I'm missing out.
I watched the entire A&M Bama game and I cried.
Oh, I did watch a lot of that.
And then I caught glimpses of LSU and Missouri. And that was about it.
Yeah, I kind of jumped around. I watched the Vandy game, Vandy, Florida, and then watched the Kentucky, Georgia game for about half of a quarter until it stopped being competitive. And then I was like, man, yeah, this is going to be yet another season to where Kentucky comes out and just punches us right in the face and then loses like 5 of their last 6 games because they're not actually that good. They just really fucking hate Florida. Ray Davis turns into like Adrian Peterson and Walter Payton's love child every time he plays us, I guess. But I watched
Red River. I don't know if y'all watched Red River, but I watched that one.
Yeah, I watched
Yeah.
a lot of it.
Adrian's here.
Hey, Adrian.
He's
Yeah,
glad.
I was at a music festival in Arizona, and I was keeping up with the Arkansas score, and like we were back and we were right there, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta watch. And so there's a video, and I'm just like staring at the game while there's craziness going on behind me.
That's the most Sydney thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I have a lot of those videos. I have one at a wedding. I've got one at a music festival. They're everywhere.
Yeah, I thought Arkansas, I turned that game on and it was 7-3. And Arkansas had the ball and was like marching down the field. And I was like, man, if Arkansas goes up 14-3, one thing about like Ole Miss and like those like real high tempo offenses, if you get a couple of stops or if they turn the ball over, you can get up like 21-3 real fast. And like Tennessee, Ole Miss, like they run a bunch of plays. They have really high flying offenses, but they're both heavily predicated on the run. And when those teams get down, they basically have to stop running the ball and then they just have to start throwing it. And it fucks up their whole game plan. And I was like, man, Arkansas is about to do this. And then KJ Jefferson threw what could best be described as an Anthony Richardson interception to where it was like, just threw it right to the Ole Miss guy, and he returned it all the way to like the 5-yard line or something.
I unfortunately did see that.
That's what I messaged you, and I was just like, "Oh man, that's so rough." Like, you have a chance to really go down and like first quarter really start to put your foot on them, and then you throw that.
I mean, they came out firing and launching the thing. Like, I love the passing game, and then the receiver, Ty Washington, that was doing a lot. They said he was like 3rd string last week. And I was like, where's this guy been the whole time?
Yep. I guess Dan Enos finally got some good emails to work from.
So.
All I know is that I don't know what happened to feed the studs, but we need to go back to it. Evan Stewart had 30 targets in the first 2 games. He's had 8 in the last 3.
Ew.
And they're like, what are we doing? Guys.
Is that the big guy?
Number 1.
He's not big, but he's really good.
I don't know who the big guy
is. I don't know if you mean big is in terms of like stature or like importance.
Mean like big.
No, he's not a very big guy. He's like 6 foot maybe. 6 foot 190 or so. He's a wide receiver. Ooh, you guys only had 306 yards of offense.
He's 6 foot 174.
I
No,
don't
our
know.
really tall guy didn't play against Arkansas. Noah Thomas is 6'6",
Jeez.
but his brother had just passed away and he was dealing with injury. So
So I mean, is this the part of the season to where we finally get to see our Bobby Petrino, Jimbo Fisher shit show kick off? Like,
4th and 1, we didn't go for it. Ugh.
like that's my all off season. I told y'all, I'm like, I can't even formulate an opinion on Texas A&M until I see how Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Petrino are going to play together. And I mean, even in the Miami game, it really wasn't the offense's fault. Like, I mean,
No.
Y'all didn't play great, but you score 34 points, give up 48, and it's Jimbo's either elite like he was in 2020, like he was at FSU, or he just does shit. You're like, what, Jimbo? Why? So yeah, I think Jimbo's over the hill.
Well, we're not putting Cristobal with Jimbo because at least Jimbo would have known to take a knee.
And the fact that this has happened twice now. I remember watching the 2018 Stanford Oregon game when CJ Verdell didn't take it. It was Pac-12 after dark. I don't know about y'all. One of my favorite things about football Saturdays is when my team has an early kickoff and I get to get that out. It's like ripping a Band-Aid off. You know how your day's going to go. It's like scratching a lottery ticket. You're either going to be happy or pissed off. And then when you're happy, you just get to sit back and you just get to enjoy college football for what it is. And I remember watching that game and CJ Verdell fumbling it and Stanford coming back to win it. And the same thing happened this weekend. I was watching the Georgia Tech game. Georgia Tech is giving them a run for their money. And, I thought Georgia Tech had them beat. And then Miami comes back, scores a touchdown. And then that fumble, man, it was, as a Florida fan, it was a thing of beauty.
You lost to Haynes King.
Haynes King has, without a doubt, the weirdest looking throwing. Like,
Really
every
does.
time that kid throws the ball, it's like, even if you watch the game-winning touchdown against Miami, it looks like the ball's in the air for 11 seconds. It looks like he puts all of his arm strength into that 30-yard pass, and it just floats. Like, it's so weird. Like, he gets the job done somehow. He did the same thing to us last year. But it's like, it looks like you're watching a middle schooler throw a football. Or like you're watching like a freshman try and throw an NFL football. So I will say, obviously I enjoyed Miami losing. I will say that their running back was down, and I will say that the Georgia Tech player started his slide outside of the end zone. Like, I love how pissed off Miami Twitter is about both of those things, and honestly, they're right about both of those things.
How
I love it though. I don't care. Fuck Miami. I love it.
There were so many times that the LSU A&M overtime game was over. And the ref was like, nah, it's fine.
Let's keep this party going.
Was not down.
Plot armor.
Jay Sternberger was not down. That was a fumble. Like, it's fine. It's fine. But Kellen Mond's knee was down, and that's all that matters.
That's true.
I remember like sitting there and I was like watching the play and I was like, wait, hold on. And then they like started showing it back and we're all freaking out. Like, I was sitting at my ex's house, like having an internal freak out because I didn't want to wake anybody up. So I'm like, no, his knee is down. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Let's see what's happening next week. Besides the fact that Missouri is decent, y'all.
Yeah.
Or is LSU really bad?
LSU has a very good offense. They do not have a very good defense.
That's true.
And that's
We trade.
I think to this point, LSU is averaging more points and yards per game than they did in 2019.
They're top 10 in the country in 6 different categories.
Well, there you go.
You can
Says you
you
should
can
use
get out of here with that shit. FSU is not the Empire. FSU ain't shit. I'm sorry, you don't win. FSU's won one game. Florida beat FSU 5 years in a row. They've won one game by a touchdown. We beat FSU with an interim coach. I'm sorry. FSU has a long way to. FSU sucks. They should have 2 losses right now. You want to talk about script writing? Go and watch the Boston College game. ACC refs absolutely bailed FSU out that whole game. Shenanigans. Fuck FSU.
shenanigans.
That's my takeaway. We do not unite every man for himself in the state of Florida or woman. And we got UCF. UCF had a lot to say about running the state and being in the Big Three and wanting a piece of that pie. And now they're in the Big 12. And they are not having a good time.
It's not a good time.
They realize why everybody made fun of them for their made up national championship.
So, speaking of Big 12, Texas fans are the stupidest people I've ever met in my life. Not including our Texas super fan who's actually intelligent. But like some of the Texas fans on Twitter are the stupidest people I've ever seen in my life.
I don't know what's been going on today, but like my whole timeline has just been Oklahoma. I'm like, whoa, it's Thursday. Why are we still on this? Second of all, please shut up. Get away from me.
Well, no, somebody tweeted that like the all-time record since like 1950 or whatever is 33, 33, and 3. And they're like, that doesn't add up right. I'm like, y'all realize that y'all play more than once a year sometimes. And they're like, no. And I'm like, yes. Or do y'all just act like the Big 12 championship?
Just Big 12 things.
Like, what? Like, maybe don't correct someone if you don't actually know.
Yeah.
Maybe just don't.
I mean, it's been, since Colorado and Nebraska left, that they haven't had divisions, right? They used to have North and South.
I don't know. I think so.
I thought when A&M was in the Big 12, they
you
had
look like I gave a shit about the Big 12 ever.
I'm sorry. Here I was thinking you were part of the Colt.
I'm the leader of the cult.
The majority of your life was spent in the Big 12.
No, honestly, I started really paying attention in 2012, like when I was a senior in high school or a junior in high school.
I imagine that's when a lot of A&M fans picked up.
I picked up, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why. I told all the guys in my little friend group that A&M was going to beat Alabama, and they were like, "No, you're stupid." So I said, "No, I'm going to be right," and we won. And I loved feeling right. So I learned everything I could learn about football from then on out. That's how it worked.
I don't know if we showed this or not. I think Texas and Oklahoma are two of the better teams in the country. So I think you're drastically underselling both of those teams. I feel like this year, if Georgia, FSU, see, those two teams really don't have another top 10 team on their schedule. Like Florida, if Florida were a top 10 team, maybe FSU with Miami could be interesting. But really, the only until Georgia plays Florida or the SEC title, they're not going to have any team that's even close to them in terms of raw talent, like on the field. And Oklahoma, Texas is real close. FSU, Miami is going to be close. But like, I feel like this year, all of those teams have looked pretty great. Like not elite. Like the past 3 years, there have been an elite team. Like Bama, Georgia, those teams have been elite. This year, Michigan, maybe, but Michigan has to play Ohio State. They have to play Penn State. All three of those teams are probably as good, if not better, than FSU, Miami, Texas, Oklahoma. But they all have to play each other. And that means that somebody's probably going to have 2 losses. It's possible all 3 of them have 1 loss, which means that those three teams are probably just going to cannibalize each other while a shitty FSU or Miami team gets to go to the CFP.
Does Miami going to the college football playoff make A&M look better?
That's all that matters. I mean, the good thing is that through 20 years in the ACC, Miami has one division title in 20 years. So, A&M has as many Heisman winners as Miami has division titles in the past 20 years.
Yes. There are already Aggie fans that are like, well, next year. And I'm like, the season's not over.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm excited for.
This isn't a shit on Miami podcast. Yes, it is.
See, this is the problem. Adrian. All offseason, all I heard from Miami, from FSU, from Clemson was y'all ain't ready for when we come to the SEC and start getting that SEC money. I don't know if y'all heard that. I don't know if y'all heard that every North Carolina, Virginia, the entire ACC is going to blow up and all those teams are going to come to the SEC. Did y'all hear that? Y'all heard that,
no,
right?
My entire timeline was Texas and Oklahoma.
Okay, I mean, that's fair. So for me, that's all I heard. FSU's going to find a way out of the contract. Clemson's going to find a way out of the contract.
Yeah.
North Carolina's first up on the list. The 10th, Clemson was supposed to have some big announcement to where their lawyers had figured a way out of the contract with the ACC. I didn't hear anything. And then I turn around and Stanford, Cal, and SMU are going to the ACC. And I'm like, wait, y'all talked about getting out of these contracts and coming to the SEC or the Big Ten. And then you add Stanford to the Atlantic Coast Conference?
That's
what?
The craziest thing to me.
Can you imagine Miami?
UCLA and USC are in the Big Ten. Are going to be in the Big Ten.
That makes way more sense to me than Stanford and Cal in the ACC.
Yeah, going.
I don't know why.
Pacific Coast to the Atlantic Coast.
And it's not even that; it's Northern California. like LA. I feel like USC and UCLA fit the Big Ten at least in terms of academics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have Northwestern, you have Michigan, you have Ohio State. You have some kind of heavy hitters academically. The ACC has Duke, which is cool and all. SEC has Vandy. And then you bring in Stanford and Cal, which are both really prestigious, really liberal schools. And you're going to have them playing in Chestnut Hill. You're going to have them playing a private Catholic university. I know Stanford plays Notre Dame. Notre Dame just kind of getting to sit there. I feel like Notre Dame's hand should have been forced to join one of the conferences. And I think it will when the 12-team playoff hits. Yeah. And maybe that's going to be the ACC secret sauce is we have Notre Dame now. Either way, I just bringing in those three schools, it just made me laugh because all I heard for months and months and months was how scared Florida was that FSU and Miami were going to come to the SEC. And everybody's like, bro, it's $500 million. FSU took investments from the Saudis to pay and try and get money together to get out of this contract and couldn't do it. It's hundreds of millions of dollars. None of these schools have that. Texas and Oklahoma, it costs $50 million for one season. These schools have to pay for 14 more years. So yeah, it is a shit on Miami podcast to bring it all back around.
So yeah.
I had to deal with Miami fans for months talking shit about the SEC. So yeah, now that I have the platform, fuck Miami, fuck FSU.
Now that I have the platform, we're important.
Hey. We have to will it into existence.
All right, so let's talk about next week. Georgia and Vanderbilt. That's a joke, right?
Oof. Sorry, Vandy. Georgia might as well just start their backup.
And it would still be a blowout.
Yeah. Have y'all seen Carson Beck? Have y'all looked at Carson Beck?
Yes, I've seen him.
Carson Beck is the ugliest player in FBS.
Yeah. Yeah, I
There
would have
is
to
not a
agree.
single person in college football more excited for Halloween than Carson Beck because he finally gets to wear a mask.
Ah! Oh my.
Oh my god. Okay.
Have y'all seen the Carson Beck the Snapchat message that he sent to
Yeah.
somebody?
Oh, hold on. He said, "Have I ever talked shit about any of your teams?"
You talk shit about my team every week, Adrian. Every week. I'll go and pull the receipts up after this.
Oh my lord.
And see,
Oh,
this is
more
mistake
people
number one,
talk
Adrian.
shit about the Aggies. I'm used to it.
It's college football. When you get the chance to go in, you got to go in because the next week you might, fumble the ball. Like you never know
You may not
when.
take a knee, fumble the ball.
I mean, you may lose to Haynes King. So you beat the Aggies, but you lost to the King. Like you won the battle, but you lost the war.
QBU.
Something like that.
Literally, it's the running joke every time a quarterback that transferred from A&M does something good. We're like, QBU. We did it. Look. Kyler. What's his name? Kenny Hill.
Kenny Trail Hill.
Kenny Trill.
I mean, Florida's got the same. We got Jeff Driscoll, Jacoby Brissett, Will Greer. Like Cam Newton. Cam Newton started it all. Like that. That was the beginning of the end for Florida football. Was when Cam Newton stole that laptop.
Well, at least he wasn't found passed out in a bush. Little things.
It's the little things.
I still remember how hyped that South Carolina team was that we beat in 2014. And then all the A&M fans were like, "We're going to the national championship with Kenny Hill." And I was like, okay. We beat South Carolina, not Alabama, but okay.
Hey, that's when South Carolina was actually good, though.
Yeah, but were they Alabama good?
Who cares about Missouri and Kentucky, honestly?
Not even Missouri and Kentucky care about Missouri and Kentucky. So Kentucky has moved on to basketball season.
Yeah.
No.
Boo, Mizzou.
Maybe
my classroom door. My classroom door now says kindergarten is a slam dunk. So it's basketball season, y'all.
That's funny.
maybe if Mizzou and Kentucky had won this week. Okay, maybe if Mizzou had won and Kentucky had looked competitive, that game would be more interesting. I think that game is just back to your regular scheduled programming of Missouri versus Kentucky football.
Missouri will win, though. I'm telling you right now. I'm calling it.
I mean, you heard me. Kentucky, they shot their shot. They did. I mean, they beat Florida, and then the rest of their season is just going to be garbage. Kentucky's doing to us what we've been doing to Tennessee for years. to where you think you got a little bit going, and then they come in and just fuck you up, and then your season just goes down for the rest of the year after that. We'll see. We'll see.
I laughed because somebody posted the last time A&M played Tennessee, there was 106,000 people there, or 2 times ago. And then there was only 22,000 people in Knoxville when we played in 2020. And I said, yes, give no context.
Are y'all at Tennessee?
Yeah.
Neyland.
Named after an Aggie.
I'll be rooting for y'all.
Oh, Lord.
No, actually, I don't think I will.
You never do.
I never do. You're right. I mean, I did pick y'all to win for whatever that's worth.
See, you
but
never
also
root for us because that would mean you were being nice to me.
I'm so nice to you, Shelby. Also, no, but see, this is just like you were talking about with Miami. I need Tennessee to win so that our win over Tennessee continues to look good.
So you're telling me the Aggies are good?
I didn't say that.
Okay. Whatever
No,
makes you
I
feel
don't
better.
really have a dog in that fight. I guess I'll root for Texas A&M just to make you happy.
There was a girl whenever I went to the A&M Arkansas game who had obviously just gotten her ring because ring day was that Friday. And whenever you get your ring, when you whoop, you get to like interdigitate like this so you can see your ring. Otherwise, you go like this so you don't see that you don't have one. It's like a whole thing. And she's sitting there like, what do I do with my hand?
Did you just say interdigitate?
Yeah, she did.
Is that a word?
Yes, it is now.
That was
It's the
wild.
word we use, interdigitate.
Wow, that is an actual word.
Is it really? Did you look it up?
Yeah. Interdigitate is an actual word. It's where you interlock your fingers together.
No, ring day is the day you have to have 90 hours at A&M. And once you do that, you can order your Aggie ring. Oh, right there. There we go. The love of my life. My sister gets hers on November 3rd.
Ooh. So she gets hers on November 3rd, and that girl just got hers. When are the days that you get them?
You have to, they do 1 or 2 in the fall and 2 in the spring.
Okay. I love when we have Aggie history lessons.
The video's been circulating. Have you seen the video?
The video?
Oh yeah, that's
So,
the thing. I've watched it like 5 times. It's incredible. It's I can't take my eyes off of it. It's like a car crash.
some Tennessee fans tried to make fun of us because there is a building on campus, our Memorial Student Center. You don't wear your hat and you don't walk on the grass because it is a living memorial for those who have passed in wars. Because A&M having started as a military school and stuff like that. And he's like, this makes y'all a cult. And I'm like, so we respect people that have passed. Okay. I didn't know.
That's a very cult member like response there, Shelby.
Like, okay. Like, I'm all for making fun of us, but that one's not the funny one. You know?
What are we allowed to make fun of about Texas? Everything that people make fun of, you're like, that one's not cool. They're not allowed to make fun of that one.
Okay, what do you want to make fun of?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot. I'm just gonna stick with the Colt yelling, the weird march thing that y'all do. Like, there's plenty. I don't even have to go into the military industrial complex arena for insults. Like, I can stick strictly. Honestly, I can stick strictly to football. I mean, you guys are coming up on the century mark.
Yeah.
A cool fact about Arkansas. There's not really many cool facts. But when you graduate, you get your name etched in the sidewalks on campus. So that's fun.
Cool.
That's about
I
it.
remember
That's
that.
all I got.
I mean, Jimmy Johnson, wasn't he Arkansas? He played with Jerry Jones, right?
And Jerry Jones.
That's pretty neat. I think that's
Barry
pretty cool.
Switzer.
Barry Switzer, yeah.
2 Cowboys coaches that won the Super Bowl.
And 2 very successful college coaches as well. I mean,
Bear Bryant was at Arkansas for a minute, doing something.
Bear Bryant was as an A&M coach too.
And Lou Holtz.
John L. Smith.
Yeah, there we go. John L. Smith, Chad Morris.
Can't let you get too high there, Sydney.
Fun fact, and I've seen Tennessee fans making fun of us that we don't call our people that graduate, we call them former students, not alumni, because you're always an Aggie. There's no longer a student. All the people that didn't get to graduate because they were, in World War II.
Oh my God, Sydney or Shelby! It's
we
been
can't make
70
fun of we were in the war.
It's been 80 years. It's been 80 years since that.
I'm just saying that was the original reasoning behind it. And now it's because no no longer an Aggie. You're just no longer a student. Just once an Aggie, always an Aggie.
Every school in the country says that.
Yes, but do they call them?
Once a Gator, always Gator Nation is stronger than ever. You never, once you're a part of the Gator Nation, you never leave.
You know what, Adrian? You know what else is not cool? Losing to Haynes King. Okay.
Ooh. And Shelby would know. Haynes King lost like 4 games for A&M last year.
That's being generous. All right. Anyway, whatever that tangent was, Arkansas plays Alabama at 11 a.m. or at noon, whichever your time zone is.
11 a.m. Really don't care to be watching. Yeah. That's all That's it.
So are you officially like over the Arkansas experience for the year?
It's just so frustrating because like the opportunities are there, the plays are there, they aren't being made, and then like you think you're good, and boom, pass straight to the freaking DB. Like it's just there's no point of getting your hopes up because something bad is going to happen. I don't know. It sucks.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm personally just rooting for Sam Pittman to end up at the University of Florida. I want him to come be our offensive line coach, and I'm sorry if that means that your team.
I would like an offensive line coach.
Really? You're questioning the Sam Pittman offensive line coaching?
It's horrible.
Sam Pittman.
Actually, last week wasn't too bad. They're getting better. They're just shifting around every single week. Like, they're all over the place.
See, this is, Arkansas very nearly
if we ever will have our day in the sun.
Arkansas very nearly beat Florida in the SEC championship game in 2006. And, I think Bama kind of drank our milkshake in the 2009 SEC championship game. I think Florida drank Arkansas's milkshake in that game. And I think that I think that program is still trying to rebound from that. We're still trying to rebound from where we were. Arkansas has come closer to having their day in the sun in modern times than most SEC teams, I would say. I mean, I know it sounds kind of like moral victory talk, but like Arkansas's been pretty good.
Oh, party's here.
Yo.
Come home, Sam. Get out of here, man. Dibs. I call dibs.
Oh man, we never even changed his bedroom around, man. We still have all of his drawings hanging up and everything.
Sydney,
What's
Mitch.
good, people?
Mitch, Sydney.
Hey, Sydney, how's it going?
Hi.
Woo pig and whatnot.
Woo pig.
Mitch, I thought about you when Kentucky was laying the wood to us. And I was like, that son of a bitch is out there beating some big blue drum.
Honestly, dude, I did, and then I stopped. So like I was watching the game and I was like, man, look, Kentucky's looking pretty good. And then it just got more and more gruesome, right? And I was just like, and I didn't feel good about it at the end. It was I felt the same way I felt like when Florida State was beating LSU just senseless at the end of that game. And I kind of felt the same way about like when Georgia Tech beat Miami. Like that was gross on so many different levels. It's like walking in on your girlfriend making out with your sister or something like that. It was really gross. But anywho,
yeah, you went there.
Mitch, you got opinions on Georgia and Vanderbilt?
I hope no one gets hurt. I
just hope
it's an 11 o'clock Eastern kickoff, so I'm like hoping that the game is well in hand by halftime, so I don't have to watch it, and I can go watch some of the other much better games.
I felt that.
I don't really have any opinions. Like I said, we got a bye week on the other side, so it's kind of like 2 bye weeks in a row. So I don't know. I can live off a dead Kentucky for 3 weeks.
Dead Kentucky. They tried. I think.
No, they didn't. They didn't try. They tried to. Did you, hey, Ethan? I thought about you, dude. When did you watch the Georgia Kentucky game?
I did
Did you
a little bit
see
of it.
the penalties, man? Like the offensive lineman had the 2 personal fouls, and then
Mhm.
and then their defensive lineman, that big 6'6" guy they got on their defensive line, that like plays over, and he ran into a Cedric Van Pran, like, just for like no reason at all. I was like,
Yep.
what? And I was like, this
And
is
I
the
would
Ethan
defensive
Hewitt
line only
show
have
here.
2 flags.
Sorry, what's that now?
I said I would kill for our offensive line to only have 2 flags.
Only
Oof.
They
I'm
average
telling
like
you,
6 a game.
this is why Kentucky's so up and down. They get away with that shit at home. They don't get away with it on the road. They get away with playing the quote, the farty ass Bobby Bowden to the echo of the whistle. They hit until the refs tell them, hey, that's a late hit. Next time I'm going to flag you. And then they don't do it. I mean, they're physical and they certainly play with an edge. But of all the teams in the SEC, they're the one who, if you play, you can guarantee somebody on your team is going to get hit late. There's going to be a questionable bullshit hit call. Somebody's going to get laid out of bounds. And sometimes they'll just outright grab your starting quarterback's ankle and twist until it pops.
Yeah. So
Actually happened.
One of the things that I don't like about Kirby is that he loves playing Kentucky. He wants to get in a phone booth with them and just fight. That's he just gets off on it, right? And I don't want anything to do with that. I just want to go in, finish the game, and get back on the bus, and everybody's healthy. You know what I mean? And it seems like every time we finish a Kentucky game, the score is like 16-6, and there's like 19 guys on the injured list. I get so sick of that. And but Kirby just loves that stuff. And then I'm sure you all heard about the comments that Stoops made on his show on Monday, right? You didn't hear this thing.
I did
Where he
not.
was like, how did it go? It's something like, basically he said that Georgia bought them some good players, and if Kentucky fans have a problem with what Kentucky is doing, then they need to pony up and help Kentucky buy their own players, because he said that their 85
I did see
guys
that.
don't look like our 85 guys. And I was like,
Maybe
oh,
you don't want to go to Kentucky.
so it's the fans' fault though. It's the Kentucky fans' fault.
He's not entirely wrong in that second part though, because I mean, you guys do have the Scott Cochran steroid program going that Bama had for a decade plus.
Scott Cochran motivational experience.
Yeah, the motivational injections. But yeah, no, but I mean, and in Kirby's defense, Kirby did come out and basically say like, hey, he's doing this. I would do the same thing. He's basically saying, hey, this is the new world we live in, and there's nothing wrong with it. So, I'm sure that we'll have some leaked halftime speech next year where Kirby has some really choice words for Mark Stoops that nobody's gonna hear except for the audio crew in the locker room. I guess Deion Sanders is coming for that title now of most leaked professionally recorded audio.
Do you know where do you know where the audio came from?
It was the Florida game, wasn't it?
The Florida game. But do you know where the file actually came from? Marcus Rosemary-Jackson.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
So that's oh, my light just went out. Hello.
Hello.
Oh well. If I disappear, then it was fun.
Mothman got you.
I
did think it was
to see y'all game of the week.
are we doing picks?
Yes.
Sure.
Oh, sweet. I definitely want to do some picks. Let's do it.
Are we on? See who you got.
Oof. Do I have to go first?
Yes.
I'll be happy to go first.
Mitch has to go as our guest. You have to go first.
I'm happy to do so. Matt and I just got back from. Can I preface this? Can I couch this within a frame narrative? Uh,
Oh goodness.
I I had to drive down to pick up my mom from Baltimore yesterday, right? And I get to BWI, and the traffic is backed up for like forever, right? And so for like 45 minutes, I'm just like creeping along like at 1 inch at a time. And I get up to the airport, so where you pull into the like the parking garage area, and they got all these military vehicles lined up, and there's dudes with machine guns standing behind their vehicles, right? And I like roll my window down, and there's a security guy, an airport security guy there, and I'm like, "Hey man, how do I get to the arrivals gate?" And he said, "You don't." And then a man with a machine gun said, "Keep moving." And so I said, I agree, you know. And so I kept moving.
Will do.
It turns out you're right, that is the right answer. And so I circled back around, and like I was texting my mom the whole time, and I'm like, yeah, I'm here. I don't know what's going on. She said, yeah, there's all these people standing out on the sidewalk. And I said, yeah, they got the whole parking garage blocked off. I don't know, there's helicopters everywhere. There's military vehicles, cops everywhere. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And anyway, so I circled back around, and as I'm coming back in, like an hour later, I managed to drive like the 2 mile circle in about an hour. And as I get there, they're opening up the parking garage, so I just whip it in there, right? Get out, go find my mom, grab their bags, like getting in the car, and I see this guy walking. He's on the phone, and I'm like, "Hey man, do you know what's going on?" And he said, "Yeah, there was a bomb. Like there was a bomb or a bomb threat or something." Right. And I was like, "Oh crap, okay." So we get in the car and we jet out of there, and then we get caught in all the Baltimore Orioles traffic. And anyways, come to find out, there was a guy who claimed there was a bomb or something like that. And I'm telling all of this story to say this: when I first got there and was stuck in traffic, I called Ducati. And I was like, "Hey man, can you tell me what's going on here? Can you look on the news?" And he's like, "I can't find anything on the news." And so immediately we just shifted to talking about Tennessee and A&M, because that's what you do
That's what you do. That's the important
when surrounded by a military presence at a major U.S. airport. And we both agree, it's like it's going to be tremendous run defense versus a tremendous running game. And immovable object, and and all of that kind of stuff. I think that Neyland being the venue is going to seal the deal, and I think that Tennessee is going to win somewhere in the neighborhood of 30-27. Okay, but having said that, I would love to see A&M just rub them out, just rub them off the map. It would make me happy inside my heart. All right. But
after what I had to watch about A&M Alabama, that would make me happy inside my heart too.
Well, you know what? I'm trying to forget that you cheered for Auburn and just let that ride. So,
like I said, I cheered for chaos, not specifically Auburn.
You cheered for Auburn. All right. That is chaos. Auburn is chaos. So I'm going to pick with my head Tennessee, but boy, my heart wants an Aggie victory on this one.
Love it.
Does anyone have our drive pulled up? Our little thing?
I do.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
I don't know who I picked for that one.
You picked. You picked A&M.
That's what I thought.
Yay!
Sticking with it.
Sydney's my friend.
So Kate is the only one that picked Tennessee to win.
Did Matt not do it?
I don't have Matt's on here. I just have.
It's just under Tennessee.
I don't have a Tennessee on here either.
Surely Matt picked Tennessee though, right?
Like, yeah, surely. I mean, I think we could chalk that one up to Matt picking Tennessee. I don't know. I have South Carolina, Kentucky, Mizzou, Auburn, A&M, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Shelbie, Kate, Ethan, Sydney.
It's possible he didn't get his picks in.
So, I think we can all assume Matt went with Tennessee being undefeated. Yeah, I mean, I'm also going to go A&M here. Tennessee's one of those teams that the Heupel offense. There's always the possibility they get up like 17-0 early, and then the whole game you're just like, fuck. They're just gonna run go routes for 50 minutes straight, and you better fucking hope Joe Milton doesn't hit one. Like that's Tennessee's entire offense. It's like we're gonna run.
Is that what their offense is this year?
Well, I mean, the difference is Joe Milton can't hit it. The difference is Hendon Hooker could hit those. The difference is when the play broke down, Hendon Hooker either would throw an accurate pass or he would run. This year, it's run in your spread out wide ass formations. You do your little wide receiver screen, and then you do a fake wide receiver screen to a go route. Like that's Tennessee's offense. They have like 9 plays.
Right.
And if they hit them, you can't stop it. However, if you stop the running game and make them pass it, then you have a chance. And especially with Joe Milton at quarterback. I tried to tell the world, nobody ever listens to Ethan. I try to, because everybody thinks I'm just a blatant homer, but when I'm not talking about Florida, I sometimes know things. Joe Milton was the most overrated quarterback in the country. Anybody who has followed his career would know
Ethan, that man can throw a ball 90 yards.
You would think the person who watched Anthony Richardson throw balls for an entire season would know just because you can throw a ball over their heels doesn't make you a good quarterback. And Joe Milton is slow Anthony Richardson. Like until
like he be a top pick in the draft.
See, that's the thing, is he's slow. He's slow Anthony Richardson. So he'll probably still get drafted, but it won't be top 5.
He'll get drafted? I'm shocked.
I mean, he can throw a ball.
NFL does a lot of things
yards.
for quarterbacks. It makes no sense. Somebody will take him in the 6th round because he can throw a football across the field.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Kyle Bowler was a 1st-round draft pick, and the only story you ever heard about was how at the combine he threw a ball 80 yards from one knee.
Right.
And NFL teams were just like, we have to get this guy. And then they get him, and he's not accurate at all, but he can throw a ball really far. And then they just try and run go routes, and defenses are like, hey, we're just going to sit back and wait for you to arm punt to us.
I want Walter Nolan to have a huge game. That's all I want. That's all I want. Because Stewart coming back to Miami didn't work out. So now we need Walter Nolan to work out.
That I mean, Walter Nolan having like 4 sacks. Like, I mean, it being in Neyland, they might throw something at him. You never know. They might bust out the mustard bottles.
Oh, yeah.
Miami fans were throwing stuff on the field. I think that's such a bad look. I've seen Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Miami fans do it.
Mm-hmm. Just why? What? Like, and to do it on your own home field just makes it easier.
That's the one that kills me. Is it's like you're supporting your team, your fan, your fellow students, but the person that's got to go and pick this crap up is probably some like sophomore, like literature major who's gonna be there at 11 p.m. picking up your Coors Light bottle, and like
that's where you're wrong. See, it's if it were a Coors Light bottle, you'd be like, that makes good sense, but they threw a freaking mustard bottle. Like, listen, like, dude, I've been to a lot of football games in my lifetime, and not once ever, not even once have I brought a mustard bottle with me, right? Like, why the hell is there even a mustard bottle or a golf ball in a football stadium? Like, these things do not belong in this environment, right? What the heck, man?
Have y'all ever seen Scary Movie, like the series, the Wayans brother? Yeah. I think it's Scary Movie 2, maybe, but there's a scene where they go to a movie, and the girl brings in like fried chicken and like all this shit wrapped up in tinfoil into the movies. And she starts unwrapping it and like eating all, and everybody's like, "Can you be quiet?" And she's like, "I'm gonna eat." That's how Tennessee fans are. Like, but instead of fried chicken, it's mustard bottles and golf balls. Like,
Let me,
everybody else in there is just like, I'm gonna have some popcorn and a soda pop, and then you look over and somebody brought in a fucking mustard bottle, and you're like, how did you even get that in here? How did that get through
Did they
security?
not look?
damn.
It's all good. It's fine.
Is that the only game we're picking? Who's next?
No, we're going all the way through. Florida, South Carolina.
Florida on the road. The Florida Armadillos on the road.
Oh, man.
You're going to that stadium looks like a toilet. What it does.
That stadium is ugly. And
I
the
love-
roof-
Trailer
I hate
park.
the lights on that stadium.
yeah.
I love Game Day Warrior. He's great, but your stadium looks like a toilet.
I don't want to go first again.
I don't remember who I picked.
I'll go Florida. I think I picked Florida. If not, I'd like to pick Florida.
So Florida has lost.
I think I picked South Carolina.
Florida has lost 9 consecutive road games against SEC East opponents. That's a real stat.
There you go, Ethan. You're welcome.
Trivia question: Who's the last road team that Florida beat?
Probably South Carolina.
South Carolina, Texas A&M. Florida went into Kyle Field last year and beat Texas A&M.
I thought you said bro team. That's why.
Oh, no, road.
Who was
team.
the last SEC East road team that Florida?
Gotcha.
That's why I was confused. I was like, wait, are we calling bros like SEC East?
My bad.
Yeah.
That one's on me. So that would have to be the 2020 season. I don't know. All of them, Kentucky, Vandy. The only because we lost to A&M and LSU that year.
Sure did. 41-38.
So whoever we played last, Vandy probably.
Okay.
That's my
So
my
that was
guess.
in 2020. That was
Yeah.
Man.
Wow.
You're telling me, hey, listen. I have been informed by Billy Napier that the team is getting there a day early. They're going to get an extra night's sleep.
Right. I heard the plan was sleep.
Yeah.
That was the plan.
And because apparently the plan so far has been to arrive partially hungover and don't actually start playing football until the second half. And who knew that this bold strategy would lead to such situations as, being down 24-3 in the second quarter, or giving up 300 rushing yards. Who knew only playing half of a game could get you in some trouble?
Who knew?
We didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, taking a page out of the Georgia versus Missouri playbook.
We've been playing half games all year. Hadn't gotten any trouble yet.
See, that's what it is. We're lulling you to sleep.
Yeah, but see, now we're done. We're done playing half games. We've decided to play whole games now. Still picking wildcats out of our teeth and whatnot.
Oh, good.
So who are you pick? You picking South Carolina?
Man, I am so torn. There is no reason in hell that Florida should lose to South Carolina, but there was also no reason in hell that Florida should have lost to Vandy last year. So. Until otherwise proven, I have to pick the Gamecocks.
What's the score? What you give me a score prediction?
I'm going to say Hero Ball by Spencer Rattler gets them a win somewhere in the neighborhood of 28-24.
I don't trust Spencer Rattler as far as I can throw.
Oh no, neither do I. But the task is small, you see.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We should have Mitch on all the time. But
you really should.
Sid?
I'm sticking with South Carolina.
If it were in the swamp, South Carolina, I mean, Florida would win by 30 in Gainesville.
I agree with that.
No doubt.
Like we did last year.
Yeah, I mean, it would be such a bloodbath, feathers everywhere, right? But sandstorm, baby.
So I'm going 38-11. Florida
Oh.
gets the win.
Bam.
I think we come out fired up. You know, this is the orange and blue glasses. Logically, there's nothing that I've seen from the Utah and the Kentucky game of when we are outside of the swamp to make me believe that we're going to come out and play a full game of football. However, for my sanity and the sake of our program going forward, at some point we have to wake the fuck up on the road. All season, South Carolina fans, they always have a lot to say. And I preach this in the off season. South Carolina fans like to pretend that the only games that mattered were the 11th and 12th game. Tennessee fans have been prone to doing this for the past decade plus because they play Georgia, Florida, Bama in the first half of the season. And then they end the season with Vandy, some cupcakes, Mizzou, whoever,
Right.
and they'll be 1-5 the first half of the season, and then finish 5-1, and it's momentum. And all off season, all you hear is how improved they were, and it's because they played the good teams to start. So I
Right.
think that South Carolina is showing us who they are, and I'm hoping that Florida shows us something new. I'm banking on it. I'm going to go on air and predict it. I know, bold take. I know y'all are shocked to see me pick Florida to win, but I'm doing it. 38-11. That's my prediction. Scoregami.
All right.
Spencer Rattler, man.
So Sydney, Shelby, are y'all flipping your picks? Because both of you picked South Carolina to win.
I just said if I didn't pick Florida, I'm picking Florida now. Did you not listen to me, or were you too busy listening, thinking of what you were gonna say?
Listen, you know exactly what happened here, Shelby.
All right.
Sydney, you sticking with Florida, or are you sticking with South Carolina?
I'm sticking with South Carolina.
All right.
That's it.
Auburn and LSU at night. Peyton Thorne is booty butt. I'm gonna stick to it.
Yeah, but also, as I said earlier, the task is small. You see, LSU has Harold Perkins,
And that's it.
that is all. Okay.
Harold Perkins hasn't been good since Devon A-Chain used his head as a basketball.
They switched his position. They took him from this like rover Micah Parsons, stand up on the line, move around, get him into favorable matchups. And from what I've heard, somebody in Harold Perkins's camp basically said, look, he's not a defensive end at the next level. He's not Micah Parsons. He's a linebacker. Let's put him at linebacker. And because of that, his pass rushing, his QB spy, all of that stuff has been diminished, which all of those things were what made Harold Perkins special. So he's still Harold Perkins, but he hasn't been playing like Harold Perkins because he's playing a role that he's never really played before.
Well, he's just not in a position to be a game wrecker. And LSU needs that. They need a game wrecker because they just don't have the ability to control the game on defense. Other teams able to do whatever they want. And Auburn's offense is that they it's like that zone read run stuff. You know, they're not going to throw the ball, but they're going to run it in some unusual ways. And it's hard to defend. I mean, it's very similar to like Paul Johnson Georgia Tech teams. It's very similar. They can give LSU fits. However, it's at Death Valley. I don't know, man. Auburn's pass defense is not trash. It's not trash, but LSU's got too much offense for them. So they'll just overwhelm them. Wouldn't be surprised though if it was close late. That wouldn't be surprising to me at all.
Like LSU, Missouri.
Yeah, somewhat like that. Yeah.
I was shocked that game was close.
I don't know why you were shocked. You should have asked me. I tried to tell you. I mean, Missouri went down with the puck on their stick, So everybody who wanted to talk trash about Missouri, the Tennessee boys especially wanted to talk trash about Missouri after that, and I was like, are you guys shitting me right now? Like I told you, this team is not the team you wanted to trifle around with. Missouri is a worrisome team. They have parts in places that can hurt you, and their defense is actually good. They got a really good wide receiver, and they can kick field goals from all the way in the other county.
Thicker the kicker.
Yeah.
Love it.
The thicker kicker upper. So
I love Thicker the kicker because he's better than Dicker the kicker, and that's all that matters.
He is. That dude is truly something. But yeah, so LSU wins, pulls away late.
I've got LSU, but mostly because Peyton Thorne is just not good. He's just not. Either he's not, or the A&M defense just had a really good day.
Why can't
Auburn
it just be the
hasn't
A&M
passed for
defense
more
is
than
pretty good?
100 yards against a P5 opponent in like 6 games. Peyton Thorne is not good. A&M's defense might be better than you give it credit for, at least after the Miami game. Aside from that, Miami kind of had their number. Aside from that, they've been okay. Peyton Thorne is not good. Auburn's pass offense is not good.
Correct. All facts.
The only way LSU doesn't blow them out of the water is if Auburn does to them what they did to Georgia and get turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's going to be like a minimum 17 to 24 point win by LSU.
Ouch.
Every time I've watched Auburn, which they've played some kind of wonky games, so I've actually had a chance to watch some of their games. I don't understand how they've won a game. Like, I know Hugh Freeze is a good coach and turning things around or whatever. The Cal game, I turned that game off in the first quarter because I wanted to gouge my eyes out. Turned it on in the fourth quarter, and literally nothing had happened. Like
it was the same game.
I skipped 2 hours of football and nothing happened. I didn't miss anything.
No, you skipped 2 hours, but not 2 hours of football.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Did Sydney pick?
LSU, easy.
Okay.
I love it, Sydney. Dynamite drop in, Sydney.
Yeah.
Let me share my opinion.
Really
Offense destroys.
All right. Last one is Missouri and Kentucky.
Woo-hoo.
In the Kroger parking lot.
What color underwear will I be wearing? That's going to be a good one. I'm excited about this one, actually. Man, oh man.
I will spend my whole life not watching this game.
Yeah, I could care less. Horrible.
Times must be hard over in the West. I mean, God.
I'm telling you, man, I'm all geared. My team has looked god awful in 1/3 of the games that we've played this year. But by God, I'm excited. I'm going to milk this season for all it's worth. Because next season things get weird, and I want to enjoy the normalcy while I have it.
Oh, you don't want the Shorthorns and the Sooners?
Oh, I definitely want the Shorthorns and the Sooners. Definitely.
Man, we got so robbed. Oklahoma versus Georgia. Imagine how dynamite that matchup would be this year.
I know.
Like college football, number one, we're going to get robbed because Georgia's going to walk into the SEC championship game. Number two, we're going to get robbed because the team that's looked maybe as good as Georgia, they were supposed to play each other, and they got scrapped.
Mm-hmm.
But Texas and Bama didn't. How does that make sense?
Because they were in the second year of their home and away series.
So they got to finish it.
We would have been starting a series
Gotcha.
in 23 and picking up the second game in 24, right?
Just do that.
So they were like, no, you got to take them off the schedule, and we will put in their place the fighting David Lettermans of Ball State. So
Ball State probably plays like 4 SEC teams a year.
Right.
Like
Oh,
Kentucky,
right.
They're on Kentucky's schedule like at least once every other year. Tennessee played them last year. You guys played them. Like Ball State, they're always like $1 million for an ass whooping. Sign me up.
Sign me up, baby. Woo!
Oh my god.
That's hard, man. And that game was like after you watch. I mean, it's like 45-3, and you're like, I'm not even sure if we're good. Like, I have no idea.
I don't know what
have
I'm
no
watching.
idea.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that my kids and I could have beaten Ball State by a similar spread.
How I feel about Prairie View. Every time we play Prairie View, I'm like, this ain't gonna be fun, is it?
No,
At least not for you.
no. The only thing that's going to come out of a game like that is your guy's going to roll an ankle. Like, that's it. You know,
We
and
played
Your
he's
ULM.
gonna
coach is going to leave the starter in for one series too long.
exactly.
And somebody's going to get like a stinger or like a thigh bruise. And you're going to be like, we were up 41-0. Why'd you leave him in? And then it's just the fans are pissed off about something.
We played ULM, and there was a guy in a full Warhawk costume holding a sign that said David beat Goliath. And I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm more worried that you think you're David or that you think we're Goliath.
Or did you dress like a warhawk? What the hell is that?
I mean, maybe he wore that costume when they beat Bama.
Facts.
All right, I'm making my pick, and I gotta run.
Sydney's like, I'm dying here.
I gotta get
guys."
out of here. I got work to finish. Mizzou wins,
Mizzou.
unfortunately.
I'll pick Mizzou. I like Mizzou. I think Kentucky might have their feelings hurt. That's what with their coach. Their coach made some unkind statements, and I think that the players are going to be hurt by that, and they're going to get a ball kicked 70 yards on them. There you go.
I picked Mizzou to win this. I don't feel great about it now. If I'm going to stick true to the spreadsheet and not change, I have Mizzou. If you were asking me today, I would pick Kentucky. I think Mizzou's going to be in for an emotional letdown week after the big game against LSU, and I think it's going to be a weird, like 16-13, disgusting Kentucky game.
You mean giving up the pick six to basically lose? Was it?
Yeah, like there's going to be a pick six. There's going to be like Brady Cook throws like 4 picks or something. Like it's just going to be a weird one, and those almost always go to Kentucky.
All right, my friends. We will see y'all next week.
Bye.
Peace.
Okay.
Bye. Gig 'em. Oh, God.